2025 meeting of the Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee. We have a quorum with myself, Councilmember Rutherford, Councilmember Sepulveda, Councilmember Spain, and Councilmember Toombs. And I know I've seen Evans and Druffel as well. All right, first we have a public comment sign up. So we'll start with that. Pursuant to Council Rule 28, the public comment period at committee meetings is limited to items that appear on the committee agenda. All public comment speakers must present proof of Tennessee residency. You're good.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee.
And so I'm sorry, Steve Ryder.
Yeah.
On RS 2025-1159, and a late, did it say clarified?
Clarification, because I have not seen everything, so there's some exhibits, and there's, and so I haven't seen what Sandra Sepulveda has put forward. I do have a concern, because I haven't reviewed it, whether this is really a non-binding thing or binding. So there is a contract, I believe, that some money has been awarded already. They probably can't spend the money without having a resolution that comes from you guys. So I am kind of torn about how to best proceed. But I want to make sure, I think a big issue is surveillance. And that's a big concern of the community, so I appreciate what Sandra Sepulveda is trying to do. I just want to make sure that this is included in the contract. Between the grantor is the state of Tennessee. The grantee is the Downtown Management Corporation, not the partnership, the Downtown Management Corporation. So any sort of thing that we do has to basically flow to them, because they're basically giving the money to the Nashville Downtown Partnership. If we don't go out there and specifically apply to them, then it's meaningless. Because we keep talking about the Nashville Downtown Partnership. They're recipient of the money, but they're not the grantee. The grantee is the Downtown Business Group. So I want to make sure that this is a contractual obligation that's put there, that the state and the District Management Corporation, that's included in their proposed expenditures. Otherwise, if this is non-binding, it's hard for me to support it. Thank you so much. I apologize I didn't have a chance to read it, so I'm kind of winging it today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, and that is the only public comment we have signed up today. We'll move to the resolutions. So normally I would put most of the resolutions, if not all of them, on a consent. The first is RS 2025-1712, a resolution opposing the boring company's proposed tunnels within Nashville and Davidson County. Is that to stay on, or does that need to be pulled off?
Consent?
Correct.
Off, please.
Okay, moving forward with a consent agenda. RS 2025-1713, a resolution memorializing the life and service of Metropolitan Nashville Police Department Commander Scott Bird. Sponsors Nash, Coupin, and others. RS 2025-1714, a resolution honoring the 160th anniversary of First Baptist Church, Capitol Hill of Nashville. Sponsors Swara, Ewing, and others. RS 2025-1715, a resolution recognizing the Adventure Science Center for its 80 years of educating and enlightening children and adults in Nashville and Davidson County, sponsored by Stiles. And item 5, RS 2025-1716, a resolution recognizing January 2026 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in Nashville and Davidson County, sponsored by GAD, VO, and others. I do have a letter for that. All right, so we've taken the item 1, the resolution about the boring company, off, but 2 through 5 are on our consent agenda.
Move
Do I have
approval.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 6, 0 to 0. All right, so we will go back to RS 2025-1712, a resolution opposing the boring company's proposed tunnels within Nashville and Davidson County, condemning the company's lack of transparency, inadequate community and Metropolitan Council engagement, and troubling labor and safety practices, affirming that public land and public infrastructure decisions must prioritize the welfare, safety, and express needs of Nashville's residents, and reiterating the Metropolitan Council's commitment to real, equitable, community-driven solutions, sponsored by Porterfield and Tabors and others. Councilmember Porterfield, would you like to speak to your resolution?
Yes, Chair. Thank you so very much. Colleagues, I'm going to ask that you all support this resolution. It is very simple. We've heard from many of our constituents who've had concerns with the way this project has been held, with the lack of transparency in the project. The boring company has repeatedly bragged on their community engagement and their desire to be transparent. However, prior to the transition of chairmanships, I reached out through Director Darby along with Councilmember Parker to request a joint meeting through Budget and Finance and Transportation and Infrastructure. Very respectful email showing that our constituents had questions and concerns, invited them to come out to do a presentation to just share information with us since we saw how much they value transparency. However, we were told that they had no business with the Metro Council and they chose not to engage in that meeting. Respectfully replied back and asked them to come out, explained that our constituents had concerns. At that point in time, I was being reached out to by residents and business owners along the Murfreesboro Pike who had a lot of concerns about what this would do to their homes and their businesses. There have been lots of concerns about the geography and the impact on our environment. There have been concerns about what has happened with this tunnel in Las Vegas. I've been reached out to by individuals who live in Las Vegas, who are from Nashville, who have a vested interest in this project because they've seen the issues that they've seen in Las Vegas with flooding and different things. We've had questions about, although this is saying that there will be no impact on our taxpayers and no taxpayer dollars being used for this project, there are concerns about if something happens while someone is in the tunnel, these are our first responders that are having to respond to any incidents that will happen. That will come at a cost to our city. So this is a very simple resolution. It is saying that, they need to engage the Metro Council. They need to have conversations with us. I do understand that some council members have been engaged in one-off conversations with the company, but again, they have the opportunity to come before the council, even though they don't have business before the council. Our constituents do have a right to know what is happening in this project, so I respectfully ask you all to move to support this resolution.
Thank you. Discussion?
Is there a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the sponsor bringing this resolution, and we certainly have heard a lot about this project, and I share a lot of the concerns that the sponsor laid out. My concern is that the language of the resolution doesn't lend itself to a productive conversation. We start out by opposing the project and condemning the company, and then in section 2 we lay out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different points of information that we would like for them to engage with us on. And I can wholly support section 2, but my concern is that section 1 doesn't lead us to a place where we're able to do that. I'm glad to hear that we had extended an invitation to the company to appear before our committees. I would like to see us re-engage in that kind of conversation. I know we all received a letter from the company earlier today that provided some more information in response to the resolution. I don't know if it was a rebuttal exactly, but provided more information. I understand there was an environmental impact study and a third-party review released yesterday that I don't know about anyone else, but I haven't had a chance to review. So I would like more time to review the information that's out there, try to engage with the company and try to get to a productive resolution before we put ourselves on the record in opposition with not just the state, but also the airport authority, the convention center authority, apparently some departments of metro government that have reviewed and already approved permits for this project. So I'd just like some time to have some more information and hope and see if a more productive conversation is possible. So for that reason, I'm going to move for a one-meeting deferral.
Second.
Okay, can you speak to like a little more about what that looks like? What, like if we're deferring it one meeting and we get to January 20th? What do we expect to see by then, or what would you?
Well, the letter that we got extended an invitation to engage. It wasn't to the council as a whole or to a committee, which is what the sponsor alluded to, and frankly, that's what I would like to see them do. I think we should re-extend that invitation, and maybe it's with the understanding that if we don't get a favorable response by then we'll move forward as we see fit, or however that's phrased. But
Can I ask?
Councilmember Sepulveda.
Thank you, Chair. Can I ask which department has given them permits?
I'm not certain. I think water has. I don't know who else,
Okay.
and that's just based on some information that we got today.
Okay. Because I'm concerned since their main contractor has walked off the job due to wage theft allegations with the main contractor and subcontractor, and then we have reports of potential, like safety concerns, which is very troubling. Nashville, I have been saying this for a very long time, Nashville is one of the most dangerous cities to work in construction in the South, period. This is the whole reason we created the Contract and Compliance Board. And so when you have a company this big that has a history of not doing right by workers, and you see that history follow them to this city, and they are not responsive to council members inviting them to join the conversation until something like this is filed, and then the day of they respond to all of us via email, it doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy and make me want to give them a deferral. And because of that, I just don't feel comfortable doing a one-meeting deferral. They haven't been a good partner thus far. And because of that, I won't be supportive of it.
Councilmember Porterfield.
Thank you. I would ask you all to vote against the deferral. A couple of things based on what Councilmember Sepulveda just said. What she's saying about the South being one of the most dangerous cities for construction workers, that's not just a talking point. This came from a report in 2016 in which Nashville was labeled as one of the most dangerous places for construction workers here in the South. And we have been working diligently to try to change that narrative and to make it safer for our employees. There have been some really alarming allegations about the Boring Company and how they have handled their employees. I also want to second what Councilmember Sepulveda said. There has been no intentionality around engaging with this council until this legislation was filed. So the Boring Company did have multiple opportunities to engage with the council, and I would like to remind you that they chose to engage with some council members. So they pick and chose which council members they wanted to engage with, which meant that they also pick and chose which council members that they did not want to engage with. And as someone who represents all over 700,000 Nashvillians, the at-large council members would have been good people to engage with. However, again, that company chose not to do that. There have been tons of environmental concerns. There has been a report that there were over 800 environmental violations in Las Vegas over the course of 2 years from this company. Elon Musk has been quoted as saying that he would rather, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it is better to pay the fines on the back end than it is to get the permissions on the front end. So this is not someone who is choosing to engage with us in good faith. This is someone who is trying to bypass this body. News Channel 5 did an investigative report on this in which they listed the other cities in which they tried to do this project. And there have been several other cities where they tried to do this project. The difference is those local municipalities shut the project down. So there were 2 different cities, I believe one was Chicago and one was in Florida, in which those local elected officials spoke to News Channel 5 about how the Boring Company came in. They did not engage in good faith. When the city shut it down, the Boring Company scrubbed this from their website, and now they are trying to go through the state so that they can intentionally bypass local government. We do not want to set a precedent precedent for them to be able to do this across the country and to think that they could bypass local governments by going through state elected officials. So this legislation was painstakingly written in a way that does not condemn our state, but we have the authority to condemn a company that is trying to bypass us, that is going to cause harm to our community. And I will say that it is in our best interest to stand up for our constituents who have been very vocal in opposition to this project. I do not think a deferral is going to achieve that.
Did I see?
Yeah, I completely understand what Council Porterfield's saying, but I would like to give them, I mean, a month isn't going to make a huge difference. I'd like to hear from them. If we don't hear from them, I totally understand and agree, but I would rather, in a positive way, try to figure out what they're doing and let them provide answers to what we're saying.
When you say hear from them, what does that mean? What does that look
Well,
like to
I
you?
would assume that with this, we've already asked and they're already starting to provide information. So I'd like to get all the information they have. And
Like
then
another letter or a meeting, a public meeting?
I would suggest a public meeting of some type with the infrastructure so that we have an understanding that's clear. And then with that, we can ask the hard questions. So you know, my recommendation would be to defer it and then ask for an infrastructure meeting to get more information.
And Councilmember Porterfield said something about, like, before the committee leadership change, that there were invitations made. Do we know if there have been invitations since then, or did we just kind of take their answer at that point in time? And
There have been 2 invitations that were extended from Councilmember Parker and myself. There is a copy of that email that will be on each council member's desk prior to your vote tonight. So I've already requested that a copy of that email showing the 2 separate emails that were sent to them, respectfully asking them to engage this body, to which, one, they declined, and then secondly, they chose not to respond again until today, once their feet were put to the fire because legislation was filed.
Chair.
Councilmember Rutherford.
Thanks, Chair. To the sponsor's credit, I believe that filing of the resolution essentially served as notice because we heard from them, as we know, today.
Right.
And I think that's very much a positive. And I commend the sponsor for that effort. Though I do favor the 1 meeting deferral because I think essentially, given that the company is on notice, then let's allow that time to see what their response is. And hopefully we can get something scheduled with them so that they can come in and talk to us, which I don't think anyone is opposed to that. I think most everyone wants to hear from them. And my understanding is that they have had the one-on-one meetings with the majority of council, including at least one at large. But I do think that no matter where any individual council member may stand on this, I think they need to speak with all of us. If they've extended an invitation to that many individually, then invitations should be extended to everyone. And I think that the deferral will allow these things to transpire. And then between now and January 20th, our next meeting, if these things do not transpire, if there is not something from them that is concrete, then it would be time to readdress this and consider passing such a resolution. But in the meantime, I'm just not willing to vote in favor of it, even though I am supportive of much of the language, though not all of it. I'm in strong support of the 1 meeting deferral.
And when you say meet with all of us, do you mean in a public setting? Or just make
Well,
sure that an individual invitation is sent to
Yeah, I
all
believe
4?
they do. I believe both. I believe they need to meet with us in a public setting. Come before the council and answer questions, just like a lot of entities do. But I also believe, since they have extended one-on-one individual meetings to council members, I think they should extend the same invitation to all of the council that they have not met with, so that the invitations are essentially equal. Give everybody that opportunity to have that meeting too. So I think they should do both. But I want to, since they are on notice, if you will, because I believe that this resolution has served as putting them on notice, and again, I commend the sponsor for doing that, because we've actually heard from them now, and that's a positive, but I think we need to afford that time to see what transpires between now and January 20th before we make any determination about condemning them.
Did I see Councilmember Toombs?
Thank you, Chair. So I am a co-sponsor on this resolution because going along with the sentiment of the lead sponsor as well as the sentiment of committee members, the way the boring company has gone about this project has been abhorrent. It was my understanding that their plan was to completely circumvent the council and just work through the state. I did not know until today that they had been having regular interactions with departments. I personally would like to know more about those interactions. It is my understanding that today that they do intend to engage, or have been engaging with Metro, and that there are likely some permitting that would need to come through Metro. That has not been the story from the beginning. It was like, we don't need y'all, it's on state property, poo-poo to you. And so with that new information, I would like to know more. I think they should come before a committee and address the entire council instead of having one-off meetings, because information can change from meeting to meeting. Because I'm just getting this information today, I'm really torn on the deferral. I understand the sentiment of giving them a month to do what we essentially asked them to do in the resolution. Then I also understand the sentiment of sending a message like, hey, you thought that you would get around us, but we're publicly putting it on the record that we're, I don't want to necessarily say against the project, but against how it's come about, which is, I don't think anyone can argue that they've taken the right route. So I'm likely abstaining on the one meeting deferral, but I did want to put my reasoning out there. The way they've gone about this has been absolutely wrong, and they need to address the entire council.
Councilmember Benedict.
Thank you, Chair, especially since I'm not on this committee, for recognizing me. My concern here, so they reached out to me for the first time ever. I've never heard from these folks before. I represent 20,000 Nashvillians, and they have overwhelmingly told me that they don't like how things have been done by this company. And they want me to do something about it. And this resolution allows me the opportunity to do something about it. The agenda came out last Wednesday, and we're only receiving communication today. So I'm not sure what has happened over the past 4 days. Certainly 2 of them were weekend days, right? But there was an opportunity for the company to reach out to us sooner after the agenda was published, rather than just the day of a vote. So I think that's, to me, that's anytime that somebody's, reaching out last minute, they're saying, whoa, we haven't done our homework before, now we need you to accommodate us, so please defer our bill or vote no for our bill. I also think from the get-go, they have tried to circumvent anything that they need from the city. And I definitely want to find out more information, but I think a deferral motion in this committee is going to prevent us from having that conversation on the floor. And I think that this is a conversation that all of us deserve to have on the council floor, rather than just in committee. And so, my request to the committee would be to either make no recommendation or, allow this to come to the council floor tonight so that we can have this discussion out there. I think there are valid concerns, and I think we absolutely should have the opportunity to have those questions answered by them. I'm not sure what, a holiday schedule, we're gonna lose 2 weeks because of the holidays, so, will they even come and meet with us? They haven't wanted to before, so what would incentivize them to do it now? So I think that, a deferral in committee is going to prevent us from having that dialogue. And I think, I totally respect your committee, but I also think that there's a lot of other minds on the body that, should be heard in regards to this. And I think a lot of good feedback can be given. And then as a body, I think we do the right thing. I think that as a body, we come to the right solution most of the time. It's not always the one I want, but I think that we come to the right solution oftentimes, or all the time. And I think that this would allow the whole body to respond and to say, if we do need a deferral, then to actually line out, here's what we want to see between now and whatever the date, that it gets deferred to. So my request to the committee, and thank you again for allowing me to speak, would be to not defer it in committee, but rather allow it to get to the floor tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember Sepulveda.
Thank you, Chair. I actually agree with Councilmember Benedict. I do think that we need to have this discussion on the floor for the body to hear some of this, because it is the first time I'm hearing that departments have had conversations with them and are giving permits, right? I have questions for the departments. I hadn't been reached out to, and I'm the council member that sits on the Contract and Compliance Board. For someone who has been working on this topic since the beginning of my term and before that, I have had to figure out how to get a 20-year-old's body back home to Guatemala when his employer tried to hide it, and he fell through the roof of one of our buildings, right, working in construction. The first case when I was on council was a 16-year-old that fell downtown. Like, this is happening. This is a very dangerous city to work in, and this is somebody's everyday life. They just want to make it home, and so we have to take this topic very seriously. It's not just about wage theft and environmental issues. These are people's lives, and so I want to have a very serious discussion about this. And so if we could have this discussion on the floor, I think everyone would greatly appreciate it.
Councilmember Spain.
Mr. Chairman, I don't disagree with anything.
We do have a lot more on our agenda.
Sorry, I'll be quick, but I don't disagree with anything that's been said. I think this is a conversation that the whole council needs to have. I just think it's premature to have it right now. I'd like for us to have an opportunity to gather some more information, to engage the company to be a part of the conversation, so that we're not just throwing these questions and assertions out into the wind, that we can hopefully have some sort of productive dialogue. It certainly doesn't mean that we're ignoring any of these issues. It just means we want to find out more about them. So that's the reason I'm supporting it.
Chair, I totally agree. I think to have incomplete information, expressing our frustrations without being able to do anything about it, it doesn't make sense until we really get all the information. So I'm still in for a deferral. I move for a deferral. All right, there's one on the table.
Are we ready? Any more discussion? Councilmember, quickly.
Thank you. Very quickly. I just want to echo everything that Councilwoman Sepulveda said and Councilmember Benedict, and just ask you all to give us the opportunity to have this conversation on the floor. Councilmember Druffel, I actually agree with you when you talk about these frustrations. These frustrations that we are having is because of a lack of information, and that is not due to anything that we have done on our part. This is because the company has chosen not to engage us. These requests went out in either August or September. You'll have the correct exact date on your desk when you see the email that was sent out to them. However, they have chosen not to engage in that period of time. There was nothing, and I will admit, y'all, I know I can get spicy. That was not a spicy email. I sent them the most respectful, humble email asking for partnership and engagement, and they chose not to do that. I don't see anything changing. They only moved because we filed this legislation, and I think by backing down and not even having this conversation on the floor today, we are showing them that they can continue to do whatever it is that they choose to do without fully engaging this body. So I know we just got information today as a result of legislation that was filed, and I'm going to ask you all to please, even if you voted down on the floor, I don't care. Just let us have the conversation on the floor. If you are against it, if you could just vote against that deferral, let us have that conversation on the floor, and then you vote your conscience on the floor. But I appreciate if you all allow that conversation to happen on the floor. Thank you, Chair.
We ready to vote? All right, all in favor of the one meeting deferral? All against? Any against? Everybody? Okay. So 4 in favor, 2 against. You are not voting. All right, thank you. All right.
Thank you, Chair.
Now we're going to go to late filed resolutions. The first late filed resolution, item 6, is by Toombs, a resolution approving Amendment 1 and special conditions related to a grant from the Tennessee Department of Finance and Administration to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Office of Family Safety to fund fatality review team staffing positions to help manage the disciplinary needs of its clients. Councilmember Toombs, do you want to speak to your late filed resolution?
I will turn to Brian.
Thank you, Councilmember Toombs. This is a resolution that approves an amendment and additional conditions for an Office of Family Safety grant. If I remember correctly, I'm getting the letter right now, there was a timing element to this that required consideration before the January 20th meeting. Yes, I believe in this case, a new amendment would have to be issued and the start date for a change in funding and scope would be delayed until February 2026. Therefore, Office of Family Safety is requesting a rule suspension to allow for consideration of this grant, the amendment and special conditions.
Okay.
Motion.
Any motions or questions or?
Move approval.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? All right, next we've got late filed amendment 1 to RS 2025-1659 by Sepulveda.
I am actually gonna move amendment 2.
Oh, item 10? Okay, I see it. So you're not moving this?
No, I'm moving 2.
Okay. All right, late filed substitute to RS 2025-1686 by Cap.
I may be able to speak to that.
Okay.
This corrects a beer permit exemption resolution. There are 2 addresses that were applied for, and the original resolution only included 1. This substitute corrects them.
Okay.
I can sign on.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 6 to 0 to 0. All right, late filed amendment to BL 2025-1006 by Coupin. An ordinance amending chapter 17.04, 17.12, and 17.16 of the Metropolitan Code to amend the regulations pertaining to height within the single-family residential and 1 and 2 family residential zoning districts, and to simplify the conditions by which 2-family dwellings may be permitted in the AG, AR, 2A, R80, R40, R30, R20, R15, R10, R8, R8A, and R6, and R6A zoning districts. Can I get a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, this, I'm trying to remember, this came up, I think, in planning and zoning yesterday, and this was a result of that conversation. The amendment didn't do exactly, there's some discussion about the timing of when they were pushing back the implementation date, and also if it applied to the whole bill or just the section about the height requirements. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, Councilmember. The amendment that is presented before you includes language that would exempt part of the downtown area that he is, Councilmember Coupin has timely filed, but this would allow that section of the bill to take effect in February 28th, 2026. The remainder of the bill would take effect immediately.
Instead of a later time, he came back with a shorter time, so there'd be more consensus that would be okay.
So this kind of amends the amendment?
It is a new version of the amendment, yes.
Yeah, I think the original one, if I got this correct, it was May 31st or something like that.
That's right, for the
A lot
whole
of
bill.
people like the delay, but not that long of a delay. And so I think this was a consensus that everybody felt pretty good with this version.
Okay. Any more discussion?
Okay. Are we just voting on the late filed nature?
We're voting on the late filed nature. Are we ready to do so?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? 6 to 0 to 0. And now late filed amendment 2 to RS 2025-1659, a resolution approving a letter of agreement and memorandum of understanding between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville, Davidson County, and the Nashville Downtown Partnership related to an application for the fiscal year 26 Downtown Public Safety Grant from the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
Councilmember Sepulveda.
So this would remove Leo Site and 5Cast from the MOU. So as you all know, we couldn't get an amendment filed unless both parties agreed. So administration and the downtown partnership agreed to this amendment. So this is what came out of it, and this is late filed because it took a second for parties to agree. Yeah.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Not voting? All right. Moving along. All right, so next we have two board and commission members that we interviewed last time. Or is it more than two? It's three. And they are for the Contract and Compliance Board, consideration of two people for a term expiring October 15th, 2026. And those two members are Emma Boyd Elliott and Stuart Huffman. And then for the Human Relations Commission, filling a vacancy for a term expiring April 18th, 2028. Carrie Adams. Can I get a motion to approve those three nominees?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? All three got 6-0. Now, we're going to interview some new folks. All right, today we're going to start with the Art Commission reappointment of Campbell West for a term expiring February 24th, 2030. Campbell West?
Hello.
Hey, come on up.
Hi.
And to everyone, I have parking passes up here, blue cards. If I don't mention it each time, there they are. Please get one when you need it. All right, tell us a little bit about yourself. This is a reappointment, so maybe what you've accomplished in your term so far, and what you'd like to do with another one.
Great. I'm actually finishing my second term.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I, in September, I was reelected as chair of the commission. So I'm going into my second year as chair. I'm going to be leading assisting leading our executive director search. And moving forward into this year, we're just trying to stabilize again and really work hard to move forward with that. Sorry, did somebody ask me something? No, I thought you had a question. And working on the executive director search coming up next year.
Okay. Okay. Great.
This will be my third.
Any other council member? Yes.
Thank
Councilmember
you.
Bennett.
So Commissioner West lives in District 7, and she's someone I've known for a long time. She has been solid as a rock. We know that there's been some issues with the Arts Commission over the past few years. Commissioner West, who's now the chair, has done a phenomenal job leading through those, challenges, and I'm thrilled that she wants to continue to serve. I asked her earlier this year, would you please, 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 and she was like, yeah. And she said yes. So the fact that she's continuing to, has the desire to do this, plus, she's just done a superb job. If you haven't watched any of the meetings or gone to any of the meetings, she's really does a good job leading the other commissioners. So grateful to have you. Please keep up the good work, and so glad to have you in District 7 too.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember.
Any other questions? Sure.
You asked a little bit about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you're willing to serve again. The Arts Commission has come a very long way from where it's been, and it's thanks to people who are willing to continue to work, and also thanks to Ashley. What more do you think that we should be doing, or what would you like to see the commission do in the future?
What we're currently doing is something I'm really glad we are, which is working with an alignment process. I'm sure most of you know that the majority of our commission is fairly new, which is fantastic. That means coming into it, and with our wonderful interim executive director Batchelder, is getting everyone sort of aligned on mission. And with everything that's gone on over the past few years, because I just finished my 8th year. Prior to that, I've been involved with the Arts Commission for 20 years, as on the other side of the table, if you will. And so I do feel that the commission itself needs to be supported in a way of being just really stable for a while. I cannot say enough about Executive Director Batchelder coming on board and staying with us to really stabilize things and also be really transparent. I think that's something that we've missed, and with this new commission, not new, but with our current commission, I think that the transparency is going a long way in the community. So, and I look forward to continue on. I've been in the arts in Nashville for 24 years, and I feel that there is great movement right now coming out of where we've been. I think that stabilizing for like our Thrive program, for example, that was stabilized this year. We can always do more with more funding. I'd like to drop that or where I am with council, but yeah, that's where we are. Never heard that before. And you won't ever hear it again from me either, right? No, I certainly will be in front of you again.
Any other questions? Ready to vote? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 6-0. Parking pass if you want it.
Thank you. Thank you all for your
Appreciate your
service.
service. The Arts Commission reappointment of Myra Yu for a term expiring February 24th, 2030. Join us. Hey, Ms. Yu. So this is a reappointment, so you've been on, you know the ropes a little bit. So you could just tell us about your service on the Arts Commission and what you'd like to see going forward and why you want to continue.
Well, I'm happy to be part of the Metro Arts Commission and helping the community, the arts community, as well as the, everybody, immigrant community, newcomers. And I was a substitute for another commissioner before my reappointing. But I learned and I had experienced good friendship, and I've been learning from all the other commissioners. It was a little bit hard, but thanks to Ms. Ashley and other commissioners, we've been getting more understanding about what we have to do as commissioners, as well as the public and the community. And the tension has been much much better because we were under a lot of pressure. But we've been working together and listening, hearing, and supporting each other, and from other departments, from the metro government. And I think, I've enjoyed. I was scared a little bit, but I understand more. I'm an artist too. But what I want to do in this term is to keep supporting and also advocating for the arts in general, and not only it's in general, and trying to keep a language where everybody's included. No divisions, being careful with the language where we don't have to say this is yellow or this is with dots, or no, everybody's included, because sometimes I feel like we said, or community comes and say, oh, why this group of people didn't have this, or we hear complaints as commissioners, but I like to remember the public and all of you that we're here as volunteers. We take our time from family, from work, and we miss salaries and work time, so people sometimes don't know, and we're here because we love that. I love that, and I'm going to continue. I was asked if I wanted to be reappointed, and I was like, I said, I'll do it. But I think also the commissioners in general need to be recognized, not just, oh, thank you, Commissioner, but they need to be recognized by the public, by the council members, by everybody, because all the commissioners within the commissions and the Metro government do an excellent job. And at the Metro Arts Commission, I enjoy learning from the public arts, entertainments, and how the budget works and how the grants work. So I'm learning, I'm trying to help and support with the skills that I have, and the ones that I don't have, I'm learning from everybody else. But my focus is in including everybody and remind them that always is everybody, not this and that, and using a very, very general vocabulary so everybody will feel included. Immigrants, non-immigrants, newcomers, yellow, white, any color, but no making that hard, strong difference. It's everybody is a human being, so everybody needs to be treated fair and as a human being.
Yep, well,
And
we do appreciate your
representing the
service.
arts. So, and that's why I'm here.
We're glad, and we do appreciate your service, and we know, especially in the last couple of years, it's been a lot of work, and there has been a lot of issues to work with, and it sounds like some of that is, a good amount of that is being worked out, and we appreciate your being there to be a part of that. And
Yeah, and I
Thank you.
really thanks all the council members, councilwomen, and the Metro Arts interim director, Ms. Ashley, because she's been super supportive and for us, to us, as well as the employees. and
That's
the
great.
staff.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Ready to make a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any not voting? 5-0. Don't forget, thank you so much for your service. Don't forget, if you need a parking pass, there's one right there.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Auditorium Commission appointment of Mia Vickers for a term expiring June 30th, 2027. Mia, come on up.
Good evening.
Tell us about yourself and your interest in being on the Auditorium Commission.
Let's see, I am a resident of Davidson County for 28 years. I'm originally from Memphis. Moved here for my husband's job 28 years ago. Both my children, born and raised, went to school in the Nashville community. I've worked 12 years in state government with the TDOT and the Governor's Highway Safety Office. I was deputy director from 2003 to 2015, and have different corporate roles and community engagement type roles. My most recent job was with the Nashville Stars, where I was community engagement manager, talking to the community. I spoke at one of your meetings on behalf of the Stars as we were trying to bring baseball to Nashville. But I feel like the work that I've done, and that's just a few things, I know you have more information there, but those would make me, a good fit for the role, because the public service, I'm used to the fiscal accountability, responsibility, working in state government. When I first moved to Nashville, actually I worked on a grant-funded position at Community Corrections and Metro Government as a case officer with the courts and everything, but also banking, different things. But I'm used to public service. That service is kind of what I'm just used to. I've never really had an opportunity to give to the city. I've been in state positions, but not been able to specifically serve the city of Nashville. And I feel like this is a great way for me to be able to do that. Also, just event planning, things I've had to do in different roles, putting on large-scale events, and with the sports intersection as well. So I just thought all of my worlds were colliding. That would make this a great fit for me.
Sounds good. And we ask this especially if people up for the first time. So you have thought about it and you have time to make this commitment. I mean, some of the boards and commissions at times are having issues with, attendance and meeting quorum.
Okay.
So you feel like you
feel that would be a problem.
Okay. Great. All right. Any other questions?
Just real quick, and since I represent District 31, I just want to say I'm really glad to see you here. I like to see folks coming from the district, obviously, to serve the city, and so
Yes.
I really appreciate that.
you saying that.
And then one thing completely off topic, I see that your work with the Nashville Stars. Do you think we're going to get pro baseball?
Well, I will say, the last I heard, the owners have kind of pushed baseball to the back of the table for a minute, because they were dealing with collaborative bargaining agreements with the players, et cetera, and it just wasn't as important for them. And they were trying to finalize the Oakland moving to Vegas and trying to see what Tampa was going to do in Tampa. They were telling them that you'd either need to build a new stadium or we're moving it out of Tampa. And so they were even considering maybe relocations before they thought about expansions. So the expansion got pushed back a little bit till they can figure out all the other things. I do feel like Nashville is viable. Even the players have voted that they thought Nashville was one of the main cities they thought should have MLB. So I think it'll happen, it's just when it'll happen.
Just when.
Yeah.
All right, well, you know a lot of details. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Apologies
That was
for
more
getting
than you
off
wanted.
topic, yeah.
Or we're expecting. All right, are we ready for a vote? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? You're on. Thank you very
so
much.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate your service.
And I will take a blue ticket.
Yep. All right, the appointment of Matthew Cushing to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee for a term expiring March 24th, 2027. Mr. Cushing, tell us a little bit about yourself, why you think you're a good fit for the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission, what you'd like to do with your service on that.
Absolutely, and thank you for the time. I mean, the simple answer is because I care about people being able to move around in ways other than driving alone. And I've been working in the field for 10 years now. It started in outreach and education on bicycle safety, but have since worked in pedestrian-focused roles, bicycle transit as well. So the real call to action is, so actually, well, I have not been on a board here before. About a year ago, I was at NDOT and I was the BPAC administrator, the staffer for it. Since then, a few of the members have said they would really like me to try to be on the actual committee at this point. Generally I think of myself more as an administrator than an advocate, but I think what I offer is, for one, an ability to translate between the advocates and the planners on the team to make sure that they're connecting with each other on language, and too often the bicycle and pedestrian groups can be vocal and loud and sometimes lose their message. I think I can help own that message to make targeted campaigns, basically.
Okay, great. You were staff before, while it was in progress, or after it got created?
After it got created.
Okay.
So I
So
was.
you have seen some of the meetings.
I have seen some of the meetings. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Have you seen any recent ones?
Not recent ones. No. For a little while, I was keeping my distance,
Gotcha.
but they've tried to draw me back in. Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Any other questions?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? You're on. 5 in favor, 5 to 0. Thank you. All right, the appointment of the Davidson County Historian, appointment of Dr. Lee Williams Jr. for a term expiring December 16th, 2030. We're good, and you were here last time, and we couldn't interview you because you weren't on our agenda. So we're glad that you're back, and would love to hear about your experience and your willingness to serve as the Davidson County Historian.
Okay, I earned my PhD from Florida State University in history in 2003. Oh, okay. You know?
Seminole.
Oh, okay.
I went there for 1 year too.
Okay. It's funny because we were the #1 party school in the nation.
That's why I had to leave.
Nothing to do with that. But my areas of concentration are Civil War Reconstruction, African American history, and public history. My first job was in Savannah, Georgia, where I taught public history, African American history, and historic preservation. I worked for a while for the Secretary of State of Florida in the preservation section. While I was there, I was challenged to use my degree in ways that impacted people beyond academia. So not just the students that I was fortunate enough to teach every semester, but the communities. So while I was there, I became very much involved in exploring historical memory. And by the same token, our collective amnesia about the past. I was invited to apply to TSU in 2005, and it was a difficult decision because I was going up for tenure. But my predecessor, Dr. Lovett, said, well, give us a close look and we'll see what happens. So I did. So I arrived here in 2009, and and I began teaching courses on African American history, and I became very much engaged in the community. I worked on one of the very first projects I worked on was the Gateway to Heritage project. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but if you go down Jefferson Street, right where I-40 crosses it, right down on the back end, I was responsible for the TSU stuff that appears there. But we were given a tour of Jefferson Street by a gentleman named Kwame Lillard. And I remember going back to class and debriefing the students on what they had seen, what they had heard, and they were asking me questions about Nashville in general that, quite honestly, I could not answer. So I pulled a pretty smooth professor move, I think, and said, we'll learn this together. So I created something called the North Nashville Heritage Project.
Nice.
And from that, it led to an engagement not only with North Nashville, but the entire Nashville community that ultimately led to me collaborating with she was a PhD student at Vanderbilt at the time, Ami Thurber. We collaborated to put together our first book, I'll Take You There, A History of Nashville Social Justice Sites. And what that did was it pushed me to engage the entire Nashville, Davidson County community. Like I said, my area was African American history, but in order to talk about this city and this county, I had to go to spaces that I might not visit being a resident of Hermitage. So from that, we worked at TSU, and I say we because I always had my students involved. We began to put up historical markers around the city that provided a glimpse not only into Nashville history, but the people that occupy the margins of history, the people that we might overlook. In 2015-ish, Nashville was designated as the IT city. I think it's about 2015. And we pushed to see whether it included everybody in town, and it did not. And that led to me becoming more involved in just telling other stories, telling marginalized histories. In the interest of full disclosure, I was good friends with my predecessor, Carol Busey, and oftentimes she would be the person that would give me guidance on what sources to look at.
So if I may, you know her, have you kind of interacted with, you have a lot of academic experience and on the ground within that academics, and it sounds like you also, I was thinking of asking, but it sounds like you're starting to answer, like you've had some institutional knowledge of what this job entails by working with the government department and.
I'm the co-chair of the Nashville Conference on African American History and Culture. This is something that occurs every February, and it's a collaboration actually between Metro Historical Commission and TSU. When it was first suggested that I make myself consider holding this position, I was a little bit reticent because as a professor, we kind of get to do what we want without a whole lot of supervision when it comes to scholarship. But my goal as a professor, as an academic, and sometimes as a public intellectual is to engage as many diverse audiences that I can, to listen to folks who might have contributed to this city becoming what it is. And finding a better way to teach history. Right now, as an academic, we're trained to, lecture in the classroom for 50 minutes, maybe 200 students a semester. But I feel as though we need to start reconsidering what a classroom looks like, right? We need to move to spaces where you have people that want to learn but might not have the money to go to college.
So may I ask?
Yes.
So you have a day job, and this is kind of a position that is, it's not a member of a board or commission per se, but it's working and supporting a department. Do you feel like you have the time to commit to this? And sounds like you've seen what Ms. Busey did.
I'm saying this in all modesty. I'm doing what I'm required to do as a professor at TSU, but I've put together 2 book projects since I've been here. I've written 6 articles since I've been here. So my focus would be more on Nashville because because of this role and the
Kill 2
engagement.
birds with one stone, kind of.
Yeah. So I'll be doing what I was doing before, but with more of a Nashville gaze.
That's what I wanted to know. Do we have any other questions?
No.
We really appreciate you have a wealth of knowledge, and it was great hearing, and we hope to hear a lot more from you. And just to everybody, so the committee votes, and then actually I want to say 2 weeks, but at the next meeting, which is in February, on the 20th, is when January the 20th is when the full council will vote, and everyone is welcome to come back for that vote, or you can watch it on TV, on Metro Nashville Network.
It's inauguration day, huh?
Oh, yeah. Sounds good. All right, are we ready to vote?
Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? Oop, I put that in the wrong place. All right, 5-0. Thank you, sir. Need a parking pass? There it is. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Last on the interviews, we've got for the Procurement Standards Board, the appointment of Raheem Buford for a term expiring October 4th, 2028. Good to see you. Mr. Buford, come on up. Good to see you. Thank you for being here and being willing to serve. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to serve on the Procurement Standards Board.
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity just to speak. So I'm Raheem Buford, and I'm a native Nashvilleian, graduate of American Baptist College. I have a BS in entrepreneurial leadership, and I think most directly to this position is that I'm formerly incarcerated. I paroled back in 2015, and I've been home for a little over 10 years. And I do a lot of advocacy work around fairness, opportunity, and access. And I believe that this particular position provides a different kind of voice, a different insight into what it's like to be on the margins. I just was listening to the guy before me, and I'm one of those people. And I believe that it's a good opportunity to show a different side and help change the narrative, in the city I was born in.
Okay. Committee members, any other questions? Yeah. You have time to fulfill the meetings and the work that goes along with it?
I do.
All right. No other questions? All right. We're ready for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? And any not voting? 4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate your service, and welcome to the Metro government. All right. Now we've got the Board and Commission confirmations that we interviewed for, right? Yes. So I'm going to do these all at once. The Community Review Board appointment of John B. Schrader for a term expiring October 31st, 2028. the Community Review Board appointment of Tanisha Westbrook for a term expiring October 31st, 2028, and the appointment of Bruce Pierce to the Equalization Board for a term expiring November 18th, 2027. And I'm sorry, one more. Hospital Authority appointment of Dr. Courtney Pitts for a term expiring September 6th, 2026. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? 4 to 4 to 4. I'm sorry, 4 to 0 to 0.
I didn't see
Sorry.
the other four.
I got a little stutter there. All right, and the last thing that we've got is a rule change, and this was introduced last time by Evan Siegel. To Rule 9.3, all ordinances on first reading shall be considered by the council in one vote, and ordinance on first reading may be considered separately. Well, I'm reading the whole thing. It's amendment to the Rules of Procedure, Rule 9.3, introduction of legislation. Do we have any discussion on this? I think the key thing here is.
Do we need the sponsor? That's what I was wondering.
Oh, do we need the sponsor?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
I don't know if she's here.
Is
She was
there-
here yesterday.
No, she wasn't.
Should we
My
defer
thought
it
is
one meeting?
yes, you do.
Huh?
My thought is yes, you do, but
I would just say let's defer it. So, I mean, it's not gonna be applicable in any near future until the next meeting.
Is that a suggestion or a motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
Right. But just if we can, I just want to make sure I understand. So the main thing is this C. I see some wording being moved around, but the newest thing is the members must, if a member must abstain from voting on the ordinance, right? And before, if two or more members or the lead sponsor was told, hey, I need to abstain, would you, move this off so I can do that, that could happen, but this doesn't require either of those, like two people or the sponsor to do so, right?
Yeah.
Seems to be the main difference,
We
which
had an
seems fair.
instance at a meeting, last meeting, 2 meetings ago, that a member wanted to abstain on something on the consent agenda, and she wasn't able to abstain on that single item. She had to abstain to the whole consent agenda.
Right.
So I think that's where this came from.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
yes, that is correct.
All right, so we have a deferral motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? All right, 4 to 0 to 0. All right, thank you all. See you in a little bit.
It's unanimous.
Okay.
Or, and she wasn't there.
She wasn't here yesterday
So, yeah.
either.